So sir, it says here that you have a previous experience as an investor. Tell me more about it. What did you invest in? Yeah man, I invested in cryptocurrencies like Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, and to the moon GME stock. Okay, and how did that work out for you? I mean, what's the reason of you looking a job at McDonald's? I don't understand. Yeah, man, it went really well, but you know, the market is manipulated. Like I'm telling you, the big guys, they just want to kill the retail traders. But trust me, in the next bull run, I'm going to be ready. That's why I'm looking for a job at McDonald's. I need to get ready for the next bull run and I'm gonna make tons of money. Sir, I believe that you're in the wrong place. The company you're actually looking for is Wendy's. Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. My name is Dan and in this week analysis we're going over Nasdaq, US markets, Bitcoin, what happened and what is waiting for us in the next week. Stay tuned, there's a lot of interesting info, there's a lot of developments in the market at the moment, so don't miss the video from the beginning and make sure to subscribe to the channel, follow for more, because I'm gonna be doing these weekly reviews from now on and there will be plenty of useful information, macro analysis and views which you can use to your advantage, of course, to make some money in the markets. Without further ado, let's head to the PC and we're gonna go over Nasdaq 100 first. So as I've said, this is a strong area of demand on the Nasdaq 100 and we maintained in this area and then had a strong push after the CPI report and before even the CPI report. As I've said, the first and big enemy of ours on Nasdaq 100 is going to be an EMA 200 on a weekly chart, and this is a weekly chart that I'm showing you at the moment. So we are currently at 11,530, so exactly on the dot we stopped. We just crossed it a bit and as you can see we're just there on the line. So now guys, now it is a very important moment for Nasdaq 100. We are going to see now where are we going. Are we gonna go higher? Are we gonna bounce back down? What's gonna happen? I don't know, I'm not sure. We're gonna go over it and we're gonna go over some predictions. What do I think is gonna happen? Okay, let's start first with the indicators. As I've said, there was a bullish divergence that played out here and it's still kind of like playing out, right? Let's not look at that. The more important factor is this EMA 200, okay? We are just over there. So let's zoom in on a daily chart to see if there's any further indicators or any further signs that we can use. On the daily chart, I see only a hidden bearish divergence right over here on RSI only. So as you can see on MACD, nothing is shown, okay? So MACD is still showing convergence. Basically, based off of one indicator, we're not gonna consider it as a strong signal. This right over here only is not good enough. We need to have at least two signals together converging, showing you the same thing to consider this as a strong signal. So RSI is already saying, hey, listen, we are a bit overextended. We are due for a correction, but MACD is saying no, we're just doing fine, everything is okay. As you can see on the daily chart, we have created a support here on a EMA 50 at 11,330. At the moment we are bouncing back off this area. Now let's zoom in even further to see what's happening. We're gonna go to 4-hour chart time frame and let's see if there's any signals over there. And guys, I can already see a signal over here clear on both of the indicators right over here. This is a hidden bearish divergence, as we can see right over here on 4-hour chart on both of the indicators. Basically, indicators are telling us, listen, we're gonna go down now. So let's see how it's gonna play out, but 4 hours are giving us hidden bearish signal and quite a nice one. I would actually take that one for a short, and I might actually even do it when the market opens next week. So on an hourly chart, let's see if this signal becomes stronger. Yes, it does. Right over here we had a bearish signal that actually didn't play out right over here, but then we had another one, even stronger one right over here. Give me one second. Right over here, and look, what are we doing? We're just going up. So as you can see, we're having again on 1-hour chart strong bearish signal. So what I think is going to happen, let's just go over it. My personal opinion of what's going to happen is that we are going to have a slight pullback on the Nasdaq 100. However, how much, I'm not sure. Let's go back to the weekly chart one more time. So I'm just gonna zoom it in a moment. As I said, we are here hitting the EMA 200. I believe we're gonna go back down a bit, maybe even to this demand zone once again, retest it and then go higher. If that's not the case, let me me go on a daily chart. So on a daily chart, if we're going to remain bullish, that means that we're gonna have a pullback somewhere on these EMAs, somewhere over here in this area around 11,000, right? So slight pullback, retest them, and then go back higher. This is a bullish version, right? If this is going to happen on the 4 hour, basically there's nothing. There's a EMA 200, but I'm gonna keep up with the daily chart as our support and resistance EMAs. So my opinion is, if we're going to have a pullback, it's going to be a small pullback. I mean, it's not that actually small, around 500 points or so, back to somewhere here in this area of around 11,000, retest it, go back higher. That is, as I've said, a bullish scenario. Now, the bear scenario would be something like just going back down and retesting and revisiting this area right over here, the demand zone, and then, you know, to see what's gonna happen from here. Honestly, I really doubt that we are gonna continue breaking through and going like very parabolic until the next EMA 200 on the daily chart. The move like this, I really don't think it's going to happen. I'm not saying that, of course, I cannot know with certainty is it going to be happening or no, but I really believe that we are going to have a slight pullback. I personally will be entering a short position, but I will never be biased. Whenever I see what's on the graphical, that's what I follow. I don't get too emotional about it. If I'm not right, I am happy to be wrong, as long as I can make rational decisions and change my perspective and my view and take a different position. Meaning, if the things are very strong and if we're about to push higher, I will go long. Doesn't matter, as long as you make money and as long as your stop loss is calculated and small, that's okay to be wrong. It's totally fine. But in this case, as I've said, for Nasdaq 100, purely on technicals, I think we're going to have a small pullback. Now, let's move on to Bitcoin. Okay, this is a weekly chart on Bitcoin, and as you can see, I've said it in the previous video, bullish divergence on a weekly chart laid out so far, perfect, very nice. Remember that I guys told you accumulation area where I would buy is somewhere over here, and look, exactly, this is what we had. So if you can see on a daily chart, we have this very nice push exactly to the previous highs, okay, and now that's combined together with the EMA 200 on a daily chart, which gives us what? Which gives us a resistance point, okay? This is some kind of a key market level right over here, or resistance area, and the same scenario that I'm saying for Nasdaq, I'm predicting for Bitcoin. I do not believe that we're going to push higher above this. I do believe that we're gonna have a slight pullback, retest this demand zone somewhere over here. I'm not sure where we're gonna end up, and then either go higher or lower, but let's not think about lower scenario, let's just think about higher scenario. In a perfect world, we would do something like go here, wiggle around this place, and then go higher, okay, and then break the daily EMA 200. Let me see just one more time on a weekly chart. So yeah, the next resistance, the next EMA 200 on a weekly chart is at previous highs, which was 24,000, somewhere around 24,000. So the next target for Bitcoin, if we continue the bullish momentum, will be around 24,000. As I've said, I'm not sure if it's gonna happen this week, unless we have some really good news or just the momentum itself continues, but let's see how it's gonna play out. Me personally, as I've said before, I'm going to be short next week, at least at the beginning, until I see is the pullback happening or not. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm just gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna follow the trend. If we break it with vigor and if we break it with strength, that's what I'm gonna follow. I'm not gonna be against this trend. As I've said, you cannot predict the future, but you can go with the trend and follow it, okay? So if we break out higher, just follow the trend, go, because it can last for a month or 2 or 3, whatever. And then I believe we're gonna see some pullback. I'm quite sure of it, but again, I'm not a prophet. I'm just following what the market tells me, what the chart tells me. We're gonna talk about it later. Anyway, Bitcoin, as I've said, let's go 4 hours. 4 hours, do we have anything here? Yeah, on the 4 hours, it's absolutely the same thing. As I've said, look at this line. If we draw it like this big, huge line, it is still a bearish divergence, as you can see. Let me just delete this one so it doesn't confuse you. Okay, so this is basically still kind of hidden bearish divergence on both of the indicators on 4-hour chart. I'm gonna zoom in one more time for a 1-hour chart to see if there's anything there. No, nothing too interesting, nothing too crazy. Okay, that's it. We're going back to the higher time frames. So, technical analysis for Bitcoin one more time. I believe slight pullback, somewhere retesting of this area over here, and then we're gonna go and break it if we have some good news or just the momentum is with us. Or if we are very lucky, then just continue, break it with force. So break this with force, come back, retest it, and then continue higher, somewhere to around $25,000. So that is my prediction for Bitcoin. Now let's go over last week's reports, what happened in the market, how everything played out, and what do I think is waiting for us in the next week, and some other news. So last week, what we had, let's go over from the beginning. Monday, basically, there was nothing interesting in the US markets happening, nothing interesting in the European markets happening. Tuesday, we had Fed Powell on some forum, and he just literally reiterated the Fed stance that they're not gonna be taking it very light. He said something like, Fed might have to make unpopular decisions to stabilize prices, right? So basically, they're saying like, listen, you're not listening to us guys, you're just buying rigorously the market, but we're telling you we're gonna keep the rates up, we're not gonna pivot until 2024, blah blah blah. But a very important thing when it comes to that, changes their opinions very fast, and we've seen this in 2020, we've seen it in 2021, whenever the decisions to print more money was taken, they just changed their minds very fast. Oh, inflation is not there, inflation is transitory, don't worry guys, we're gonna make it out of this, it's gonna be cool, don't worry about it, everything is fine. Boom, all of a sudden, oh, actually this is very bad, we need to increase rates more than ever and higher than ever, and this is gonna be very bad, but we still expect soft landing. They're literally changing their minds like diapers, like baby changes diapers, right? So don't trust them, I don't trust them, but they are an indicator, right? So you need to listen to what they're saying, take it with a grain of salt. So the market is saying like, yeah, you just keep talking, we're just gonna keep buying, because the market was actually pumping these whole days before the CPI report. It's a good sign that the market is actually strong. That kind of ignores Chair Powell for a while, because he's been affecting the market for a very long time. And then everybody was waiting, of course, the CPI report on Thursday, which came as expected. So 6.5 year on year, -1. So inflation got better December, month on month. The report that everybody was wanting to see going even lower than 6.5, but when it came as expected, it was like, okay, it's still good. Like 6 months in a row, inflation has been cooling down, and that's a fact. And that is a good thing. That means that the hiking of the rates is working. That means that the inflation is coming down, and it's a good sign for the future of the economy, of the US economy. However, the interest rates are still high, and they're gonna remain high for a while, which is of course a bad sign. Now, what we have, a very bad thing, what happened. Actually, I mean, as I've said again, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing, right? Initial jobless claims. So the report came way better than expected. 205 initial jobless claims, meaning people are not looking for jobs because people have jobs, a lot of jobs are created. Again, this tells us that the labor market is very strong, and the labor market is not going down at the moment. So labor market remains very tight, and as long as it does, it's going to be a mix of reactions in the market. As we saw actually on Thursday, the market rallied, then it went down hard, and then it rallied again, then it just consolidated, and then it went higher. And yeah, that's it. Friday, nothing much. We had some reports in Europe, and there was some reports in the US, but nothing that crazy that affected the situation too much. Basically on Friday, we just ended up in green. We just went higher. Now, for the next week reports, what is waiting for us? Let's go over it. On Monday, a holiday in the US, so nothing is happening. Now, Tuesday, the market opens. A lot of reports for UK. Their CPI report is coming out, and the German CPI is coming out. Basically, these reports are going to affect the market in the US, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's no US reports on that day, nothing that should affect the US market. Now, Wednesday, 18th of Jan, we still have some reports in Europe, and then we have the Eurozone CPI report, again, which is going to affect the markets to show you how high inflation is in Europe actually at the moment. And then in the end, we have a PPI report in the US, which is a producer price index. Basically, it tells you exactly, measures the change of price of goods sold by manufacturers, okay? and this is one of the reports that's going to show again the signs of inflation. How is it in the producer market? Definitely the market will react to this, so be careful for these reports. Whenever they report, don't trade around it, just avoid it, wait for it, see the reaction of the market, and then take your position. And then we have retail sales at the same time. And that's about it. We have some FOMC members talking in the evening, late in the evening. And on Thursday, there's going to be again the politary meetings for the Europe, and of course it's going to be initial jobless claims for US market. Again, pay attention to initial jobless claims. How are they? Because they will show you the labor market, what is the current condition of the labor market week on week. Then after that we have some Philadelphia Fed manufacturing index. What else is there? Anything interesting? Crude oil inventories and building permits. That's it basically. But the most important ones are initial jobless claims. That's number one. Then the Philadelphia Fed manufacturing index. So pay attention to those reports. And then on Friday, nothing much is happening. Just again some existing home sales and FOMC member talking. But that's not gonna affect the market too much. So now don't forget one thing. It is a earnings season. Earnings season starts. Basically on Friday, we had JP Morgan, Bank of America, BlackRock, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, all these guys are reporting, okay? When the reporting and earnings season starts, that affects the market a lot, and you need to know this. You need to follow earnings calendar to know exactly what's gonna happen in the market, how the companies are actually performing. Basically, this is a performance indicator of a current market, of companies that are in the current market. Always we are starting with the financial firms, big financial companies. So on Monday we don't have anything, only one company. And then on Tuesday we have Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Citizen Financial, United Airlines, Interactive Brokers. Wednesday, Schwab, Prologis, etc. Then on Thursday, Procter Gamble, Netflix, PPG. Then on let me see, Friday 20th, nothing so interesting. For you guys that are investing, you're probably gonna find some interesting companies there that you want to follow. But anyways, this definitely will also affect, in addition to the reports, this will affect the markets. So pay attention to earnings calendar, it is very important. Then we're going to some news. BlackRock, for those of you who don't know, BlackRock is the biggest world's asset management with around, I believe now they have around 8.6 trillion. I cannot find the information now. Anyways, I believe they have around 8.6 trillion assets under management. I mean, they're just huge. These guys are dictating the market. You know, those are one of those guys who are, when you say a term market maker, they're literal market maker. You know, them with the governments and other big companies, right? BlackRock CEO Larry Fink weighs in on recession probability and US debt default. He said, "We are not in a recession yet, but there is high probability we're going into one." He went to note several phenomena observed as occurring in the economy. We're seeing the housing market really, collapse from the peak levels that we saw last year. We're seeing auto sales starting to fall quite considerably, and we're starting to see actually more and more consumers borrowing against their retirement. He explained consumers had huge pools of money during the peak of COVID-19 pandemic, adding that they're not commuting to work and received some federal payments. That, he said, has mostly diminished. Okay, right now we're at this point where we're not in a recession, but if the pathway continues in this direction, and I believe it will be, we're going to be in a mild recession. He continued, absolutely there's no reason for us to be in a very deep recession. There's too many things going on in our economy to be in a deep recession. So those were kind of good words, right? Kind of comforting words from Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock. So as I've said, you want to listen to these kind of people because literally they're the ones dictating where the economy is going to go. Not only them, but they are one of the biggest guys. Larry Fink says that yes, we're going to have a recession. I mean, at this point, everybody agrees that we're going to have a recession. However, me personally, I think that we're already in a recession. It's just they changed some terms, official terms. We are literally in a recession at the moment. He says we're going to be in a mild one. Our economy is doing good. We're still strong, blah, blah, blah. And he says it's not going to be a big deal, right? We're going to get over it. Basically, like everybody's predicting, 2023 is going to be a recession year. And then 2024, everything starts, roses, flowers, money, millions, etc. Anyways, let's move on. I'm going to read now some crypto news. Guys, I mean, now crypto, as you can see right over here, we are going bullish. Finally, we see some green, which is a good sign, and I like it. I like to see it, but we're not out of the woods yet. This is a nice relief rally. Take your profits if you're doing some swing trading. Don't be greedy. Take your profits. You can always re-enter, rethink your strategy, see how it's gonna react, how the market is gonna react, but it's always good to take some profits. Why wouldn't you take some money? Anyhow, Gemini and Genesis, legal troubles tend to shake up industry further. Guys, this has been going on for a while, and you know, it's not a good situation when you have these two big giants fighting between themselves, especially when they were friends. So now that the SEC has gotten involved in the ongoing Gemini Genesis spat, things could get ugly for both parties in near term. And then you see some of the headliners like tensions have been mounting, Twitter battle between the Cameron Winklevoss and Barry Silbert, Gemini terminates earn program with Genesis, and then the very important part that I want to talk about is SEC charges Genesis and Gemini. So on January 12th, the US Securities and Exchange Commission charged Gemini and Genesis with allegedly selling unregistered securities as part of the EARNS offering. As per the regulatory body, Genesis loaned the assets accrued of Gemini's users while sending a portion of the profits back to Gemini, with the latter deducting an agent fee of around 4% and returning the remaining profits to its customers. According to SEC officials, Genesis was required to register the program as securities offering, with Chair Gary Gensler adding that the charges are designed to build on previous such actions to make it known to crypto lending platforms and other intermediaries that they need to adhere to the regulatory agency's time-tested securities law. Basically, just to sum it up, I cannot even look at his face. This guy disgusts me. I was thinking that he's actually going to be a good guy for crypto, but he's just a crook like most of them, and just I don't want to see his face. While all this was happening for God knows how much time or years or whatever, and nobody cared about it. Everybody was making money and nobody cared about it. Everything was fine, everything was perfect, everything, the roses were blossoming, right? And now when the FTX collapsed, which was in direct connection with Gary Gensler, we all know that Gary Gensler was connected with Sam Bankman-Fried's parents. It's a one big connection, trust me. All these guys, I believe they're all in it together. And he was SBF's, I believe, professor at MIT, or maybe not. I don't want to speculate on this, but I think I've read something like that. Anyways, the point is, when everybody was making money on it and when everybody was clean officially, nobody didn't give a shit about anything, right? So they weren't saying anything about it's a security unregistered, you're selling unregistered securities, blah blah blah. But now, when the pressure is on SEC and the pressure when the pressure is on Gary Gensler, when all the spotlight is on him and he needs to act to prove that he is strong, that he actually is uncorrelated with these guys, he's not in a deal with them, you know. Now they start doing making charges or here and there, just throwing around everybody down the drain, throwing everybody in the mud, trying just to wash themselves. But in reality, like, this has been going on for a while. They knew it. It's just they're now using this publicity to make themselves present themselves in a very good light, that they're actually the good guys who are coming to save the crypto industry. No, they're not. No, they will not save it. They are part of a process that needs to happen, which is unavoidable for crypto to become a mainstream, and that is regulation. We need to have regulation. That's it. Yes, crypto is decentralized, but we need to have regulation if you want big money coming on board. That's just a fact. And end of story. I'm not gonna argue on that one. These guys, are they gonna make it better? No. They're gonna make sure that they are going to be well positioned for any changes in crypto, for anything that they can benefit off of it. So I'm definitely not doubting that part. Anyways, so SEC intervenes, is just like, you know, show off. Yeah, guys, that will be it actually for today's video. I just want to wrap it up and sum it up. My expectations for next week: slight pullback, either a slight pullback and retesting the previous levels just to confirm them as support, then continue going up, or just straight pump up and then coming back just a little bit to retest the EMA's 200 and pump again. Same goes for Nasdaq, S&P 500, Bitcoin, everything else. I do see us in a bullish momentum, and this bullish momentum may last through the earnings season if the earnings reports are actually good, and I believe that we can maintain it for a while. So let's see what's gonna happen, but we're gonna take it week by week, slowly. We're not in a rush. And yeah, that's about it. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It will help me a lot. Stay tuned. I have plenty of information that can help you out, make you a better trader, make you succeed in the financial market. So please make sure to follow me, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week. Enjoy and have a good one.